Good morning and welcome to the Native News Today. Jason Salzman along with Gerald Wofford. As always, we thank you for joining us this morning, and we really say that with a lot of heart this morning, that you've been joining us all this time, been faithful watchers of the Native News Today, because we've got some changes that are going to be happening here soon.
Some good changes though, Gerald. Yeah. We got some great changes, and I speak for Gerald, I speak for Josh and Jared and all of us here at the production crew. We have had a blast doing this show here on the Cox Network, Cox Communications, for over a year now. And we've it's been a great partnership working with them, and we've gotten in such a routine that it's going to be hard to break that. But we've gotten so many viewer requests and people out there that just don't necessarily get Cox or can't get access to it, and that's okay, because I think Cox has their fair share of customers. But
absolutely,
for those of our viewers out there and our Indian people down in South Creek Country and out west a little bit, we needed to do the move to network television, and that's exactly what we're doing. So this will be our last episode here on Cox, and we're certainly grateful for the great people at Cox and Kelly Schneider, and the list goes on and on, back to our early days and the production crew. And man, I'm getting a little.
And Kleenex anywhere, Jared, Josh, Kleenex anywhere.
Stop. Just stop the tape. But it's been good.
We will put the titles of the new show and where you can find that as that goes along here. In respect to Cox Cable, we'll announce that there on the titles as you see that. But as Jason mentioned, it's just been nothing but just a fun ride for the last year doing this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look back, over a lot of tape and a lot of old episodes, and remember that, and we've seen our first episode and remembered how crazy it was going in the studio the first time, meeting all those guys, and it just, you build relationships, and sometimes you got to move on, and sometimes you got to stay, but we're moving on, but we're not, it's like Kelvin Sampson said about Indiana. He wasn't running away from Oklahoma, he's running to Indiana. We're not really running away from Cox. We're just running to a network to get a broader audience for all of our viewers.
Hey, and if there's a group of people that know about moving and adapting, it's us.
That's exactly right, man.
So, hey, this is our last program here, Native News Today. We got some of the best of stories here. Council Oak with the 5 tribes that you covered earlier this year. Washington quarterback Sonny Sixkiller will show that, as well as Native American actor Wes Studi.
That's what I was going to say. We were looking back around everything, and we said, hey, why not just give them everything that's been on Cox? It's been the best there was. So we'll just give it all to you today. We'll take a look back over the last year and some of our best, and highlight some of those great Native American stories, just like always, right here on Native News Today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Smali, tas ako chusinili ang ginaistun sanga.
Pangana te be hayat kaus.
Kada magas.
Pangana te hayat kilo no.
Fanny molo just bananga.
Tu morsati.
He's a honey so bali do.
What? Hiji mokhetsari chin his after the stumidanga.
Ma hiji mokke de wekki diga. His agre da hiliga. Ampane hayat kilo.
Hilimani. Matse.
The Muskogee Creek Nation Tobacco Prevention Program offers all cessation classes to young and old. For more information about a healthier life and a second wind, contact one of these centers nearest you.
Hizida. Hilishwa fatsa. Siyanete de dos. Moes.
Well, hiji mokkes kana mokkes aknoar stinokkesis still easy dois.
And again, welcome back to the Native News Today. This is our last program here on the Cox Cable channel, as we mentioned, and we'll be letting you know when the new show is as well. We kind of wanted to bring you some of the best news segments that we shared with you over the past year, and one special news segment that you produced was with the Council Oak with the 5 chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. All the chiefs were there, well, with the exception of Chief Pyle from the Choctaws, but he wasn't able to make it, but there was a Choctaw representative there. But it's always good when the 5 tribes can get together in a show of unity, and that was certainly the case that day at the Council Oak Tree Park right there in downtown Tulsa, and came together to commemorate 1906, the signing of statehood in the state of Oklahoma. and really how far Indian tribes have come since that day. You know, that wasn't necessarily a great day for Indians and Indian territory here in what is now Oklahoma, because it was a dissolution of the governments that were set in place, of Indian governments that were set in place, fully operational. But to look back on that and see that we've moved on, made it 100 years now, and still strong, still independent, and still working governments, it says a lot about Indian people, and it was great to be there on that day.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sio. It's Ted. Chokma. One good thing about the 5 tribes, there's a couple of them that share the same greeting. Makes it easier on those MCs, I tell you. My name is George Tiger. I'm the speaker for the legislature of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and I'm honored to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this very important, commemorative, historical occasion. Today it's a very important day because we have to relearn and remind ourselves and our neighbors that our 39 tribes, and especially the 5 civilized tribes, continued in full force and effect through this entire last century. It gives us a great opportunity to become partners with our fellow Oklahomans to make this next century better. It's important that we look back and remind ourselves of the almost 500,000 direct descendants of those people that are represented here today. And I look back and I look out on this crowd and I see those people and those faces that are representative of those ancestors that we left
continue on serving our people. The huge oak tree is still alive and well, representing the first council fire, and the Muskogee Nation is still alive and well in the city of Tulsa, the state of Oklahoma. 1906 was a memorable, historic day in the life of the 5 civilized tribes government. There's some things about it, obviously, we didn't like, but the fact it did happen, and it was a memorable day. It was an attempt to terminate our sovereignty. Today, April 26, 2006, is also a historic day in the life of the 5 civilized tribes. We survived. We not only survived, but we are thriving. It's incumbent upon us to act in great integrity and maintain a good life, and to be strong, and to carry out the culture and the traditions of our people, while at the same time making sure that our children and grandchildren are educated so they can compete in the world, so they too can make a contribution not only to Native people, but to people throughout the world, which we are doing. If you look at what the tribes have done in this state, there should not be one Indian who ever put your head down. We are a proud people. We always have been. And when you look at those statistics that government cares so much about, then you have to understand that we make a positive difference in our state. That we are not a liability, but in fact, we are a strong contributor to the state of Oklahoma. We are an asset to the state of Oklahoma.
Our survival was severely challenged. We were able to survive that period of time. And also during that period of time, it established the framework, the foundation for the relationship between the tribes and Oklahoma. The tribes were continuing full force and effect, and then 2 months later, Oklahoma was entitled to become a state, but only subject to the pre-existing reserved tribal rights. So there's a great myth out there that, we need to level the playing field. Well, that's the greatest statement of ignorance that you can have in Oklahoma history, because the playing field was struck 100 years ago.
We need to continue to educate the people around the country and around the world about what our tribal governments do and what we're all about. We're here to promote the common good for all of our people, and the strength of any of our nations is in our sovereignty, and we're all organized to prepare and take care of our citizens. Without our citizens and without their needs, there's really no need for us. So it's important for that we remember that.
Hey, there's so many great news stories happening.
You know, it's not every day that you get to hang out with 5 leaders of your tribes and the civilized tribes here in the state of Oklahoma, but I tell you what, it's also not every day you get to hang out with a former Heisman Trophy candidate. And our man here, Gerald Wofford, was up at the University of Oklahoma this past fall when they played the University of Washington, and got to catch up with a little Indian boy out of Washington that almost made a dream come true.
That's right. In 1971, Sonny Sixkiller was a Heisman candidate, quarterback for the University of Washington. The man who originally is from Oklahoma, grew up in the Pacific area there, and shared some of his looking back on his illustrious career, as well as a little bit of a brief Hollywood career. He had a movie role in The Longest Yard, the Burt Reynolds classic, as you remember there back in the 70s. I think that's being liberal about it, but I think it is Burt Reynolds classic. A lot of men love to watch those good old football movies like that. I do. I certainly do. So we got a chance to catch up with Sonny Sixkiller and talk with him about all the stuff that's happened in his life. Mr. Sixkiller, we appreciate your time this morning.
Hey, not a problem. It's good to be down here in Norman and somewhat close to the old birthplace down here, but it's wonderful. The people have been really nice, and I'm not sure what that means yet because we haven't played the game, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
Well, speaking of birthplaces, tell us a little bit about your history, where you're from and everything, please.
Well, I was born in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and grew up in Southern Oregon, Ashland, Oregon. Went out there when I was just about 2 years old, and then got recruited to the University of Washington and been in Seattle ever since as a permanent residency up there. So, you know, played ball at UW and all that kind of stuff, and had some success. And it's nice to be recognized as one of the few Native American quarterbacks ever to play. So I'm one of them.
Why did you choose the University of Washington?
Well, I was pretty small coming out of high school, and the Oregon schools thought I needed to go junior college or maybe see if I could grow a little bit. And the University of Washington coaches, I was recruited by a former All-American quarterback, Bob Surratt. He had faith in me and decided that he would offer me a full ride.
What year did you arrive on campus?
I was there from 69 to 73, played 70, 71, 72, and had a lot of fun doing it. It was a great time of my life.
When you talk about that time, University of Washington before your arrival was kind of down and then you kind of you know, brought him up with the passing attack. What did that mean, that passing attack? I mean, you know, just bringing that type of wide open West Coast offense to Washington.
You know, it wasn't even West Coast. It was throw a ball downfield, you know, and it wasn't any rinky-dinky stuff. And what happened was really, we were 1-9 my freshman year when freshmen couldn't play. And that spring, my freshman coaches, actually during my freshman ball, some of our freshman coaches convinced our head freshman coach to give me a chance and start throwing the ball and get away from the wishbone. And that's where it started. And I won the job outright in the spring, and that's when it just took off, and we decided to, you know, I used to throw balls downfield, and we didn't care if they got picked off because my coach said, Sonny, don't worry about it. We don't punt that far. So, but in the city of Seattle, seriously, it was Boeing was down. We didn't have the Seahawks yet. You know, economically, it was going through a lot of problems and a lot of change nationally and all the problems going on with the war and all that kind of stuff. And we were a breath of fresh air in the Northwest in Seattle. We were entertaining. We brought, you know, ended up 6-4 from a 1-9 season, and so it meant a lot to the Northwest people and for our team.
In 1971, you become a Heisman candidate, and you make the front cover of Sports Illustrated. Mm-hmm. What was your first reaction when you saw that magazine cover?
Well, I have to tell you, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do the article. I thought it was distracting because I was more of a team player. And I thought it put too much emphasis on me. And so I said, no, no, no. And then one day after practice, our sports information director came over and said, hey, Sonny, I want you to meet somebody. And it was Roy Blunt Jr., who writes for SI. And I went, oh, man, I told you I didn't want to do this. And we did it. It ended up great. And I'm so thankful that they went ahead and did it. I'm one of only 2 players in University of Washington history to be on the cover in a feature article. I'm pretty proud of that.
Being a young kid at that time, did it really strike you that you were a Native American and you were quarterbacking a major college team?
Well, not really, because you know, I didn't grow up around Cherokee Nation or Cherokee country or Native American country, to be honest with you. So, you know, assimilated real quickly in that other world of not thinking you're any different than anybody else. And so my sophomore year, when all this stuff started happening, all of a sudden I'm starting getting calls, and the SI article, Boys Life, Street and Smiths, all those things started happening. It was like, wow, you know, it's too much. And my sophomore year particularly, the SI department at the U had to cut everybody off because I was just getting hounded. And I couldn't go anywhere in the city. I mean, I couldn't go to Denny's and have breakfast without just being hounded. And dinner with my family and all that kind of stuff. So at the same time, it was kind of cool. But on the other hand, it's getting kind of old. But, it's all part of the game.
But all of a sudden, at that time, now you're on the national attention, the national scale with everyone. Now, did all of a sudden, did that Native identity come into play in the sense that people were, Sonny Sixkiller, were they really kind of pushing that Native American side now that you were known?
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the local papers, really got into it a little bit too much and calling you the Cherokee Chucker and Slay the Stanford whatever, as all these kind of things. And so that was getting a little old that way.
How did you take that?
I'll be honest with you, the team captains my sophomore year, as a team, we wrote a letter to the local papers and said, hey, that's enough. Knock it off. You don't need to keep doing that. He's one of our teammates. We're the Huskies. You don't need to single him out with those kind of, and we said derogatory kind of innuendo, and so it got a little better after that.
Now, after you leave Washington, and I know you did other things, of course you graduated and everything, but you also made a movie appearance in The Longest Yard. Now, I like that movie. That's a great movie. Tell us a little bit about doing that movie.
We're talking about The Longest Yard 1, not that one with that just came out, but the
classic with Burt Reynolds.
It's on the American Movie Classics channel, so, it's a classic. But it was a lot of fun. Burt Reynolds actually came and visited me when I was at the UW, and that's how it all started for me to get involved. He came out to practice and met all my teammates and all that kind of stuff, and he kept track of our squad and kept track of how I was doing. And then when I got cut from the Rams in 1973, he called me and said, hey, you want to come down and be a part of this movie? And I didn't have anything going on, so I said, sure. And that's how it happened.
That was great. All right, we're visiting with Sonny Sixkiller. Mr. Sixkiller, we appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and thanks for being so hospitable down here. All right.
And we always want to keep you up to date on the tribal happenings and the new news and the breaking updates here on Native News Today. So that's no different this week. We're going to bring you our tribal calendar, and just like every other Saturday, right before the break. So stay with us. Get your pen and paper. Get all this stuff wrote down, and we'll come right back with more Native News Today.
Today's world is far different than the one our ancestors knew. But though times have changed, we the Muskogee Creek people remain a strong people. Many of our traditions continue to thrive in today's modern world. For 1,000 years and more we have been here, and we will be here for 1,000 more. Times have changed, but so have we, and the Muskogee Creek people are a part of this time, this country, and this economy.
And welcome back with us, and we have a special guest now on the show. No, it's not live or anything like that, but like I told you earlier, we were looking back and kind of reminiscing. One of our best interviews was with the well-known man, I guess you could say. Some of you might know him as Magua from Last of the Mohicans. That's like one of his most famous roles. He played it so well. But anyway, Gerald was like roaming the area at the Cherokee Festival this last year and ran into Native American actor Wes Studi.
That's right, the Cherokee holiday happening on Labor Day weekend. A lot of things happening there in Tahlequah, as like a lot of people like to say. Wes Studi was there visiting and greeting and everything, so we got a chance to, talk with him a little bit, some projects going on, as well as just growing up in the area of northeastern Oklahoma, No Fire Hollow to be specific. Gives us a little history about that as well. Just thought we'd like to share this with you, and one of the best stories of the Native News Today over the past year, Native American actor Wes Studi. It's always great to go back to Tahlequah and meet old friends and meet good people, and I'm with one of them right now with Mr. Wes Studi, acclaimed Native American actor. Wes, we appreciate your time this morning, and here you are back in the home territory, as we like to say. But what does it mean to you to come back here to Tahlequah each year like this?
Well, it normally means that I have to keep my eye, I keep an eye open in the back and then keep ducking from place to place. That's usually what it means to me, yeah. Well, you understand what I'm talking about, Gerald. You know.
I absolutely
know
do.
that, don't you? Mm-hmm.
Well, Wes, now, do you make your home in California or?
No. I live in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We've been there for about 14 years now, going on 14. But we'd love to come back here to Tahlequah every holiday, if at all possible. I've missed a couple of years, but we'll be making up for it.
Now, a bit of trivia out there for our watchers out there. You know that Wes Studi's Cherokee. You know he's from this area, but he's not specifically from Tahlequah. Wes, what do you call home, really?
What I call home, I call No Fire Hollow. Now, if you got a minute here, I'd like to tell you a little story about the loss of some of the language that we Cherokees have gone through over the years. The hollow that I now call No Fire Hollow was actually, over the years, called Nickajack Hollow. Nickajack was, you know, a very famous guy back in the day, back east, and he was a very important man to the Cherokees. Over the year, and I suppose he had something to do with that hollow that we live at. That's sort of at the base of Rocky Mountain over there near the state line. Well, over the years, as I grew up, I didn't know who Nickajack was, and over the years, myself as well as others began to call Nickajack Hollow Nigger Jack Hollow. Now, I'm sorry I use that word if it's politically incorrect, but that is what happened over the years. It became known as Nigger Jack Hollow. Well, most of us who knew that decided that I didn't like that, so I took it upon myself to begin to call it No Fire Hollow, simply because there were 4 brothers who had allotments along Nickajack Hollow, and their allotments were there, and they were all No Fire brothers. So it only follows that it could easily be called No Fire Hollow, so that's what I named Nickajack Hollow No Fire Hollow afterwards. By mistake, perhaps, but in any case, that's how it came to be.
Now, as we mentioned, we're right here in Tahlequah, but geographically here, which direction would No Fire Hollow be?
Geographically, it is south and east. It's over near the Sequoia, Cherokee County line, near Rocky Mountain, kind of below there, on the road toward Nuachota. That's sort of the beginning of the hollow, and it comes out near the lake near Tailholt. What was Tailholt? I don't think that place exists anymore, but that's the area.
Visiting here with Wes Studi, and Wes, I want to talk about some films here now, and any projects or anything that you've been doing.
Well, the first thing that will be coming out is a mini-series that I finished as of, actually I have one more scene to do, but it's a mini-series called Comanche Moon, which is a prequel to Lonesome Dove. And it has a lot of the backstory of the Comanche involvement with the Texas Rangers. If you remember Lonesome Dove, that's mainly what the 2 main characters are the Texas Rangers. But in in Comanche Moon, we find out what makes old Blue Duck so crazy. In any case, that will be airing CBS immediately after the Super Bowl, which is in either late January.
It's a great time.
February. Yeah, it's a good opening slot. Yeah. So,
well, Mr. Studi, we really appreciate your time, and if you wouldn't mind just giving us a Cherokee greeting to our audience out there, we'd really appreciate it. Just a CO or anything like that.
All right, and that's going to wrap us up here for our best of look back. And well, I tell you what, Gerald, it's been a great year here on Cox, and it's just, I don't know, it's tough to say goodbye. I hate goodbyes. Like Lloyd Christmas said in Dumb and Dumber, I hate goodbyes.
Well, even to make that more closer to home too. You know, in our language there's no word for goodbye.
No, man. See you later.
That's why we say that at the end of our programs and everything too. That's just to add that. You know, our time here on Cox Cable has really been a great time for us. I mean, it's just been a little more than over a year we've been doing this show, and you've seen this at different locations. We've been in studio location, just all over. You've seen how much we've wanted to grow and adapt and evolve with this show, and our commitment, though, no matter where we are, is still the same.
Absolutely. We are committed 100% to reaching as many Indian people out there that want to see our program and want to see great things going on with Native Americans and to non-Indians as well, that want to educate themselves in Indian ways and get to know Indian people and what they're doing in this state. And the best way to do that is to reach out to the broadest audience we can.
That's right.
And a lot of our audience south aren't able to get Cox Communications. They don't have those rights in some of those cities and everything. And we just want to reach as many people as we can. And we really think that the best thing for us to do is to be network, and so we can reach a very broad audience in Green Country, because you know, the heart of Indian country is right here and out west as well. So what we want to do is just reach as many people as we can. And with that being said, we'll be moving our program to 1:30 on Saturdays. We will not be at 11 anymore. We'll be at 1:30. That's 1:30 p.m., just 2.5 hours down the road. And we'll be on CW 19, channel 19 on your regular television dial. You don't have to have cable. You don't have to have satellite. You just have to have a pair of rabbit ears with some tinfoil on it, really, and we'll come in clear as day. So we're very excited about it.
That's right. We're bringing the Native News today to you to cover more areas in Oklahoma. Well, as we always say, you know, for now, we're going to say we'll see you soon. Again, our thanks to Cox Cable and their help and support in launching the Native News today as we continue on and everything.
Absolutely. We couldn't have done it without Cox. Like I said, they're the ones that were there for the inception of this, and we'll never forget that. You know, Indian people, if you ever get a good deed done to you, you never forget that, and we'll always hold that in high regard, that they were the ones, and I'm sure they will too, that they'll be able to say that we had the show first. So, but you can still contact us at the same numbers and everything like that. We want to go ahead and make sure that you still know our contact numbers, and we're still very much reachable. And you can do that by telephone at 918-732-7638, or by fax at 918-758-0824, or as always, our email is jsalzman@muskogeanation-nsn.gov or gwofford@muskogeanation-nsn.gov. There's the contact. It's been a blast, and we're going to see you real soon. Just down the road, just a little bit up the hour at 1:30. Gerald, take us home.
This band can sing. I wish I could. We'd sing you a song here. For producer Josh Lane, Jared Moore, Jason Salzman, and Gerald Wofford. In the meantime, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.